Here are the top stories for today, November 13, 2019. Malacanang hits Senator Franklin Drilon's claim that the Duterte administration's infrastructure program is a failure. The Dutch embassy remains silent on calls to extradite Communist Party of the Philippines founder Jose Maria Sison back to the Philippines. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nogales says the proposed 2020 national budget should be signed by mid-December. And journalists in northern Mindanao are urged to join efforts to counter communist terrorist propaganda. Good day, I'm Bench Bondok. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. We begin at the nation's top office. Malacanang denied the claim of Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon that the Duterte administration's ambitious Build infrastructure program is a dismal failure. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said Drilon's statement that only 9 of the current administration's 75 flagship infrastructure projects have started construction is baseless. He said President Rodrigo Duterte's administration has many key infrastructure accomplishments compared to the past administration. He enumerated infrastructure projects under Duterte's term, such as the construction of LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension, LRT 2 East Extension, MRT Common Station, Metro Manila Subway, PNR Clark Phase 1, Mindanao Railway, Sangli Airport, and Clark Airport expansion. Panelo also noted that there is an ongoing rehabilitation of MRT 3 and the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. He also emphasized that there is an ongoing right-of-way acquisition for PNR Clark Phase 2 and PNR Bicol, while PNR Calamba and Subic Clark Railway will have to go through bidding process. Panelo also mentioned the completion of 9,845 kilometers of roads, 7,909 bridges, 4,536 flood control projects, 82 evacuation centers, and 71,803 classrooms halfway through Duterte's 6-year term.
Senator Frank, look at the administration you previously belonged. 6 years, not a single infrastructure na nagawa.
In related news, Malacanang said Vice President Leni Robredo will have to get the Congress's nod for a higher budget for the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs in 2020. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said President Duterte no longer has the authority to raise the proposed 15 million pesos allocated for ICAD next year since the proposed 4.1 trillion peso national budget was submitted to Congress. This as Robredo called for a higher budget to implement Duterte's anti-narcotics campaign. Robredo on Sunday said ICAD's 15 million peso budget for next year is not enough due to its broad responsibilities. Robredo, who will serve as ICAD co-chairperson until end of her term in 2022, said the additional funding would be used for the establishment of more community-based rehabilitation centers nationwide.
The VP wants to augment yung income, no? And the president and I talk about this, and he said, ayun ang problema kasi nasa budget na eh. Kung ano yung nandun sa budget, yun na yun. Kaya Congress na lang ang dapat niyang hingihan. Hindi mababago na yun. Hindi kasi kung ano yung for this year, yung 15 million, yun na yun eh. Yun ang budget.
Staying with the palace, President Duterte has certified as urgent a measure imposing higher taxes on alcohol products and electronic cigarettes. Duterte said the passage of Senate Bill number 1074 will allow the government to generate additional revenue to support the effective implementation of the Universal Healthcare Act and to further protect the right to health of the people. The Department of Finance earlier said the new law for a higher sin tax is necessary since the current revenue streams for the universal healthcare are not enough. The higher sin tax is expected to generate at least 47.9 billion pesos next year and a total of 356.9 billion pesos over the next 5 years. Moving over to other stories, President Duterte took a hands-off approach to the possible scrapping of a term-sharing deal between his allies, Congressman Alan Peter Cayetano of Taguig and Lord Alan Velasco of Marinduque. The president made the remarks when he attended the joint birthday celebration of Velasco and his wife Rowena held at the Gloria Maris restaurant in San Juan City Monday night. Duterte first announced the term-sharing arrangement between Cayetano and Velasco on July 8. Under the term-sharing deal, Cayetano would serve as the House Speaker for the first 15 months or until October 2020, while Velasco would take over and assume the highest position at the House of Representatives for the remaining 21 months or until 18th Congress ends in 2022. Cayetano's allies in the 304-strong chamber earlier floated the possibility of him retaining his post as House Speaker, considering his recent strong approval and trust scores. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo on Tuesday said the chief executive's stance is clear that he would not interfere unless his advice is sought. An anti-communist group is urging the Dutch embassy to bring back CPP-NPA founder Joma to the country, and 20 ROTC cadets will participate in a leadership training in Guam. Lade Cabagani has tonight's national news roundup.
A total of 20 best-performing cadets from the Reserve Officers Training Corps will participate in a leadership training program hosted by the ROTC and National Guard of Guam, USA from November 17 to 24. The event is one of the partnership programs of Guam and the Philippines under the PH-US Mutual Defense Treaty. Meanwhile, anti-communist group Liga Filipinas Independencia says it is yet to receive a response from the Dutch embassy regarding their call to bring back CPP founder Joma to the Philippines. The group rallied in front of the embassy at least 11 times and plans to conduct bigger ones until the latter takes action. The group also urged the Dutch embassy to look into the situation of Filipino youth who are dragged into this deception, referring to children allegedly recruited to join the armed movement. In other news, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara on Tuesday said they may seek assistance from the International Criminal Police Organization or Interpol if suspects in the killing of Dumaguete broadcaster Mercedaria Dindo Generoso managed to flee the country. PCOO Secretary and PT FOM's co-chair Martin Andanar said Aledro was included in the BI's lookout list following the filing of murder charges against the alleged suspect in the killing of Generoso. The lookout order is effective since November 8. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lade Cabagani.
Up next, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles says the proposed 2020 national budget should be signed by mid-December. And the local government of Mariveles, Bataan asks for help in searching for 13 fishermen lost at sea. These stories are next. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
In this digital age, the internet and the social media have empowered almost everyone, not only to consume a practically endless amount of information, but also create and disseminate our own content. The youth are at the forefront of this digital economy, with young people all over the world being the most active users of the internet. The latest data from the International Telecommunication Union showed that around 70% of the world's youth aged 15 to 24 are online. While the internet has its many advantages, it brings some danger too. To promote media and information literacy, or MIL, among the youth of ASEAN, the Philippine Information Agency, in partnership with the Infocom Media Development Authority of Singapore and with funding support from the Japan-ASEAN Integration Fund, spearheaded the ASEAN-Japan Media and Information Literacy for the Youth project. This will help the young users of internet to be more discerning and responsible in their online activities. In March 2018, a forum on cyber wellness was attended by representatives from public information, media, academe, and youth sectors of all the 10 ASEAN member states. Resource speakers provided valuable insights on 4 cyber wellness aspects: developing healthy digital habits, building resilience against cyberbullying and other negativity online, discerning consumption and responsible sharing of information online, and keeping safe online. Aside from the forum, other efforts were undertaken to promote MIL. PIA embarked on the development of multimedia materials with the University of the Philippines College of Mass Communication Foundation Incorporated. Also, an audience analysis was conducted to look into the youth's level of awareness in terms of online safety and their preferred messaging strategies. Along with these, the ASEAN core values on digital literacy was considered in the development of the multimedia materials. In May 2019, the production of multimedia materials was completed. Today, we are ready to present to the Philippines the outputs of this months-long work in the hope that this could help bring about a Filipino youth population that is responsible and safe online.
Malacanang is optimistic that President Duterte will sign into law the proposed 2020 national budget by the middle of December. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles on Tuesday said the palace hopes the proposed 4.1 trillion pesos national budget for 2020 would be signed by mid-December to ensure that government projects, particularly those that create more jobs, will not be hampered. He said any delays in the budget would negatively affect the economy and government projects, particularly on sectors involved in job generation, livelihood creation, and anti-poverty efforts. The 2019 budget was signed by the President only last April after Congress failed to pass the legislation due to a budget impasse involving alleged pork insertions. On Monday, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano said congressmen are adhering to Senate Finance Committee Chair Sonny Angara's timeline that would have the General Appropriations Bill on the desk of the President by the middle or third week of December at the latest. Cayetano said the early passage of the national budget will also give the House of Representatives more time to pass other priority measures before the December 18 Christmas break. The House Committees on Government Reorganization and on Public Works and Highways on Tuesday approved a consolidated bill creating the Department of Water Resources. The department is said to ensure reliable, safe, quality, and affordable water supply for all. Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda, chairman of the Technical Working Group, said the Department of Water Resources shall be the primary national agency responsible for the comprehensive and integrated planning, policy formulation, and management of water resources in the Philippines. He said the DWR shall also ensure the effective implementation of all the provisions of the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004 and the Code of Sanitation of the Philippines. Malacanang assured the public that government is working to address the Philippines' long-standing problem of relying on rice imports to meet demand. This after the Foreign Agricultural Services of the United States Department of Agriculture reported that the Philippines has emerged as the top global importer of rice. The USDA-FAS has projected the country's rice imports to reach a record 3 million metric tons by year-end as compared to China, which is expected to import 2.5 million metric tons. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo pointed to the need to improve the country's irrigation system. Panelo said farmers are already benefiting from the Free Irrigation Service Act signed by President Duterte last February 2018. Panelo also said Agriculture Secretary William Dar continues to undertake measures to solve problems confronting the agriculture industry. Among others, Panelo said Dar made a proposal to give away additional subsidy to farmers who are suffering from lower palay prices as a result of the rice tariffication law. Stakeholders on Tuesday lauded the passing of a Senate resolution opposing the planned liberalization of the sugar industry. In a statement, Sugar Regulatory Administration Board member Dino Yulo is hopeful the support of the senators will allay fears of the sugar industry. Yulo thanked the Senate for recognizing the importance of the SRA. Senate Resolution 213, which was unanimously approved on Monday, urged the Executive Department not to pursue the planned liberalization of the sugar industry. The resolution calls for the government to safeguard the welfare of sugar farmers and industry workers around the country and for an investigation into the impending liberalization. Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Subedi thanked his colleagues for passing Senate Resolution 213, saying liberalizing imports would be the nail that would seal the coffin of the sugar industry. Instead of focusing on liberalization, Subedi proposed for the restoration of the full Sugarcane Industry Development Act budget in order to make the industry competitive globally. A food park featuring homegrown Kapampangan cuisine opens at Clark Freeport. Meanwhile, the local government of Mariveles, Bataan asks for help in searching for 13 fishermen lost at sea.
A food park designed to showcase the local flavors and cuisines of Pampanga officially opened at Clark Freeport on Tuesday. The Mangantamo Pampanga Food Street highlights homegrown Kapampangan recipes. CDC Chairman Ping De Jesus said the opening of the food street is seen to contribute to the growth of tourism in the Freeport. Mangantamo Pampanga Food Street, which features more than 50 local concessionaries, is open from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. every Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Meanwhile, the father of new People's Army member killed during the November 2 encounter in Santiago, Agusan del Norte finally surfaced to claim the remains of his son. The Army's 29th Infantry Battalion turned over the body to Reginaldo Mira of Gigaquit, Surigao del Norte. The father of the rebel identified only as Joey. Mira said the last time he saw his son was on October 2, 2017, the day he decided to join the NPA at the young age of 17. Lieutenant Colonel Isagani Criste, commander of 29 IB, has called on parents in Agusan Norte to be watchful to their children, relatives, and friends and protect them against the lies and deceits of the NPA. In Bataan, Mariveles Mayor Jocelyn Castañeda appealed to the government to help in the search and rescue operations of 13 fishermen who went missing at the Reed Bank in Palawan on November 6. The crew member of Three Sisters 2 from Barangay Sisiman went missing after rough seas sank their fishing boat with only one survivor. Castañeda is hopeful the 13 fishermen could still be alive. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lade Cabagani.
More stories from the newsroom. Journalists in northern Mindanao are urged to join efforts to counter communist terrorist propaganda. And an exhibit in Makati features Super Typhoon Yolanda's Ground Zero rendered in virtual reality. We're back after a quick break. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
This fun won't last unless we help out. It may be intimidating, but it's not impossible, and it all begins with a little respect. Plant more kindness into every day. Connect meaningfully to more things that matter. Uncover more of what the country has to offer by putting away what we no longer need. Strengthen our ties to the past and pave the way to an even more fun future. It all begins with a single step. It all begins with us. Together, we can make these views last. Save our spots so it's more fun forever.
The government has tapped local media to stop the spread of communist terrorist propaganda by preventing disinformation and upholding truth and accuracy. Our Rechi Tacuba has the report.
47 media practitioners and outfits in northern Mindanao have been urged to take part in countering the Communist Terrorist Group or CTG propaganda. The Strategic Communications Committee of the Regional Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or RTF-LCAC, led by the Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO, and Philippine Information Agency, or PIA, spearheaded the regional media orientation on CTG propaganda. The media orientation is conducted in line with the Executive Order No. 70 signed by President Rodrigo Duterte to address the root causes of insurgencies and other armed conflicts. PIA Region 10 Director Franklin Gumapon cited the primary role of the media practitioners, which is to deliver relevant information to the public.
To be more objective in our press releases, we need to gather facts from all sides and present them sans embellishments and personal opinions.
The National Intelligence Coordinating Agency provided inputs on how the CTG infiltrates an organization and influences them with their ideology. NICA Regional Director Manuel Ordoña emphasized that our enemy is not the young activists nor the ordinary NPAs, but the Marxist, Maoist communist ideology that brainwashed the young into joining the organization. Meanwhile, 403rd Infantry Brigade Commanding Officer Brigadier General Edgardo de Leon provided a discussion on the propaganda crafted and disseminated by the CTG and the international humanitarian law violations of the New People's Army. De Leon also encouraged the media practitioners to be the media of truth and accurate information. For the PNA Newsroom, Retchi Paculba, Philippine Information Agency, Cagayan de Oro.
Malacanang expressed concern over the abduction of 11 Filipino seafarers in West Africa. On Monday, the Department of Foreign Affairs reported that 2 unidentified Filipinos, along with a Greek and a Georgian, were brought by suspected pirates on board a Greek oil tanker, the Elka Aristotel, 11 miles from the deep-sea shipping port of Lomé. Last Saturday, pirates boarded the Norwegian-flagged MV Bonita and abducted 9 of its Filipino crew members. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III is handling the matter. The DFA assured that the government is tackling the development of the case with the embassy in Abuja and relevant authorities to ensure the safety and security of the seafarers. The government also continues to maintain close contact with the Seafarers Manning Agency. On to some sports action now. Filipino sports heroes motivated Filipino athletes bound for the 30th Southeast Asian Games in the Team Philippines send-off ng Bayan Wednesday at the Ninoy Aquino Stadium in Manila. Olympic boxing medalists Onyok Velasco Jr. and Paul Cervantes, along with bowling Hall of Famers Paeng Nepomuceno and Bong Ku, were among those who provided inspiration for the national squad to perform at their best during the Games on November 30 to December 11. Asia's first chess grandmaster Eugene Torre and track and field icons Lidia de Vega Mercado and Elma Muros Posadas also shared their stories of triumph to the athletes. Team Philippines Chef de Mission and Philippine Sports Commission Chairman William Ramirez said he is confident the country's athletes will deliver with the all-out support of the government. In commemoration of the onslaught of Super Typhoon Yolanda in 2013, an exhibit in Makati City featured as its centerpiece an interactive 360-degree video of Yolanda's Ground Zero. Postcards from Disasters partnered with Australian technology company VRTY to produce an interactive video featuring the community of 68 Anibong in Tacloban City. The virtual reality experience will provide the viewers with knowledge of how the people who survived Typhoon Yolanda in 2013 are living today. Visitors will use VR headsets provided at the exhibit space. They can also choose to watch the video in 360-degree view via computers displayed at the setup. Australian Ambassador to the Philippines Stephen Robinson, who tried the VR experience, said it is important to remember and think of the people who suffered the onslaught of the typhoon. The exhibit in Makati runs until November 14. The next leg of the exhibit will be staged at the De La Salle University campus to reach more of the younger population. And before we go, here now is the latest in our community billboard. Everyone is encouraged to participate in the 4th nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. Pilot areas will be at the Meralco Center in Ortigas Avenue, Pasig City, Caba, La Union, Dinapigue, Isabela, Barangay Daunga in Mauban, Quezon, Central Business District of Legazpi City and Albay, DepEd Division offices in Talisay City, Cebu, Eastern Samar State University, President Corazon C. Aquino Regional Government Center in Pagadian City, Sultan Naga, Dimaparo, Barangay Matiao, Puntacan, Compostela Valley, Bislig, Surigao del Sur, Basilan, and Itogon, Benguet. All offices and establishments are also encouraged to hold their own simultaneous earthquake drills. The nationwide drill will be held on November 14 at 9 a.m. Ramon has strengthened into a tropical storm and is expected to bring bad weather over eastern parts of the country. Let's check the latest weather forecast from Pag-asa.
Magandang hapon, ako po si Benison Estareja at meron tayong panibagong update regarding kay Tropical Storm Ramon with international name na Kalmegi. Ito po yung ating pinakahuling satellite animation. As of 4 p.m. today, si Bagyong Ramon ay nasa 390 kilometers silangan ng Katarman, Northern Samar. Ito ay may lakas na hangin na 65 kilometers per hour malapit sa sentro at may bugso hanggang 80 kilometers per hour. At ito po ay kumikilos sa ngayon west-northwest sa bilis na 10 kilometers per hour. At kung mapapansin natin dito sa ating satellite animation, yung sentro nitong si Ramon ay wala dun sa mismong cloud clusters or yung makakapal na kaulapan dito sa may eastern part of Luzon, kundi nandito siya sa may lower part. At aasahan natin mas dadami or magkakaroon ng mga convection dito sa area kung saan malapit yung sentro nitong si Ramon. Nakikita natin na magla-landfall po ito around Saturday, November 16, dito sa area ng Aurora or ng Northern Aurora or maybe even Isabela. Signal number 2 na po sa Catanduanes. So hanggang bukas po ng hapon, asahan pa rin ang maulap na kalangitan at meron tayong mga light to moderate at minsan lumalakas na mga pag-ulan sa eastern portions of Cagayan and Isabela, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur at Catanduanes. Kaya't mag-ingat po sa posibleng mga pagbaha or landslides.
Here is another look at today's biggest stories. Malacanang hits Senator Franklin Drilon's claim that the Duterte administration's infrastructure program is a failure. The Dutch embassy remains silent on calls to extradite Communist Party of the Philippines founder Jose Maria Sison back to the Philippines. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles says the proposed 2020 national budget should be signed by mid-December. And journalists in northern Mindanao are urged to join efforts to counter communist terrorist propaganda. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Bench Bondok. Good evening.